Hi, very warm welcome to Dusty Shelf Collectibles. Today we're continuing the build of the Tamiya Lunchbox. Yeah, hi, welcome back. So maybe you saw my first video, part one, where I did the body for the Lunchbox, pretty much box art, but I have used, dusted it over with metallic paint. The other thing I've done, I've just connected wiring here, is I've put lights into the body. So maybe you saw that before, so just make sure they're coming on. There you go. So we've got headlights there, and then on the tail lights, I hope they're showing up. I've done something a little bit neat. So during the day, you just see the stickers. If you put the lights on, they shine through. That's come out. So this video is just a continuation. I'm going to complete the rest of the kit, build up the chassis, drop the body on it, put the body pins in, take a few photographs, and just generally finish it off. So let's go over to the bench and let's carry on. So just to recap, I already have two of the lunchboxes from Tamiya. One is as box art, the other one I've done as the Mystery Machine from Scooby-Doo. This one is the one that I didn't have, which is the Black Edition. It comes in a moulded black ABS body, black ABS wheels, and a different set of decals. As far as I can see, that's the only difference. What I've done with the body, by all means go and have a look at the other video. I've sprayed it in metallic black, I've sprayed the wheels in metallic black, and I've sprayed some of the other components that are visible in the same paint. I've got a pretty good finish on it. I'm really happy with it, but the main thing I've done is I've fitted some LEDs in the front headlights and in the rear. Now I'm particularly pleased with how the rear ones came out, so if you want to see how I did that, go and have a look. But basically they're hidden during the day and then come on when you illuminate the lights. So yeah, this video, as I say, I'm going to build the rest of the kit. Some of the parts, again, just recapping, I have sprayed in the same metallic black, and I have cleaned off where they came off the sprues, so they're nice and clean, so they're all prepped. I do have a set of ball races to put in this, roller bearings rather than the nylon bearings that go in. Basically I'm going to film myself now building the kit, starting following the manual, starting here, working my way through until the kit's finished. So feel free to skip on, feel free to watch any bits that are of interest, and if you want to skip to the end and see what the final car looks like, then please do so. So just repeating what I said in the previous video, if you're new to building Tamiya kits in particular, just talk you through quickly the build on the instructions. So you have each step laid down on the right, but on the left hand side it tells you the hardware that's required for each step. So looking at this, you can see here, let's take one of these for example, a BB2. So if I need a BB2, I now go to the back of the manual, bear with me, let me find it, and in the back of the manual here gives you a part list and also a hardware list. You find your part that you need, a BP2, and it'll tell you it's in screw bag B. The screw bags are all labelled A through to D, and in some of the bigger kits, you know, you do go E and F and G, I don't know. But here, we've only got the 4. So screw bag B, which is obviously this one, I will find a BB2 in there. I did open this one in the previous video because I needed the screws out of it to assemble the body. But that's the principle anyway. And also, you know, in the back of the book, you've also got the sprues laid out, so if you're searching for a part, you can get a good indication of what's there. And also, I've never had it with a Tamiya kit, but if something's missing, if you can't find it, this will tell you if it should have been in the kit. You do have to buy some additional parts. I mean, the step one, the servo, this is an additional part. This doesn't come with the kit. You can see over here, it tells you the parts that you need. So this kit did come with the speed controller. It doesn't come with the radio, it doesn't come with the servo, it doesn't come with a battery. Those are additional things that you need to buy to assemble the kit. A lot of the retailers do sort of a bundle deal where all of this comes with it, so do have a look what you're doing. And I think I did mention in the previous video to be very careful when you're buying some Tamiya kits from some retailers. You think you're getting a good deal and the price is really good, and then when it turns up, they've taken the speed controller out. So you want to make sure, if you do want the Tamiya speed controller and you're not using something aftermarket in there, do make sure that it includes the speed controller for the price that you're paying. I've had this happen to me once on one of the kits I bought. I bought it at a good price, looked fantastic. When it turned up, there's no speed controller. I went back to the advert and it does clearly state speed controller removed. So just be careful of that. It's a little bit naughty, but you know, fair enough, it does bring down the price of the kit. But yeah, if you did want it in there, you need to be wary of that. The other thing that's happening recently is some of the kits I've had through don't have a Tamiya speed controller in, and I thought that was a bit odd, so I did investigate that, and it does seem like there's a supply chain issue. So they are direct from Tamiya supplying kits that aren't directly with a Tamiya speed controller in. So again, ask the questions before you buy. So anyway, I'm just going to get on and, as I say, follow the steps through and build this. Feel free to watch, feel free to skip to the end. I'll try and put some titles in to sort of give an indication of how long you skip through to see the final build. But I'm sure a lot of people who are watching this have built kits similar to this, so this will be nothing new. Right, let's make a start on this build. So, as I say, servos. You will need servos for making these. For shelf trophies, which this is going to be, or shelf queen, I found that you can pick up servos quite cheap on Amazon. These are metal geared. They're actually really good, really strong servos. And they're not expensive at all, so you certainly have a look at those. Right, so now putting the servo saver onto the servo. Just find out which one I need. It's not that one. Not that one, it's that one. So it comes with 3 different splines on the sprue, so you just need to find out which of these you need. Now normally I'd plug the servo in and make sure that it's centered. Unfortunately I don't have any radio gear for this one, so as it goes, I'm just going to assemble it straight off the bat into building it. So looking at the picture there, we've got the top of the marker pointing upwards. Let's put this bit on. So this is kind of a load limiter, let's call it, and that drops in. These are sometimes a little bit tricky to get in. There you go, that goes. And then we're going to put the straight fixing on. Now what this does, I'll put that on there, is if you get a whack on the front wheel, this will take, you can see it just when I twist it, you can see it opening up. That action there takes the load off the servo, takes the shock load off the servo. So this works as a load limiter, so you don't overstress the servo. Don't break the gears. I mean, this one probably wouldn't anyway because it's metal geared, but a lot of servos come with nylon gears in there. You can end up hitting a curb and just rip the servo apart in no time. Right, let me just bring this across. So what I've done, you can see that is, I've just put a little bit of tape on here, so I've split this in, and I've put the screw bags into the different areas. So this is B here, A here, and then the other 2 just over this side, so that I can just pick the bits out as and when I need them. Right. So again, looking over here, you can see you just find the screw that you need. There should be a little washer here that I haven't got off there. That's it. And we'll try BA2 in there. Yeah, that may be better. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that's tightened up nice. So you can see here you've got an option depending on which servo you get. You get 3 different screws in there. So trial and error, I've arrived at that one. Then there's 2 very small screws, that one and that one. So just slide that through, put this on. So there it goes. I'll just do
the same with this one. Now in one of these bags we should have, there's a box spanner which you will need, and there should also be an Allen key which is there, and then these will fit on there, and we can just send those home. That's that one done. Let's do this one. There you go. So that's step, well, that's the servo part, step one done, and then we need to look at one of the sprues, which is this one, for the uprights for the servo. So these are going to be A4. So let's just go through the motions on this one. So if I go back to here and we look for the sprue A, you see this is the sprue A, and A4, it's indicative that it's these two parts down here, if you can see. Okay, so let's just drop those out. Okay, so I'm going to drop those into here. So I'm going to use a BB1 and a washer. BB1 being those, and a washer. I'll start that in here first. Now it's got a little marker on there. Just point that away, because you won't need that. Let's give that a couple of turns. Just get that started. Right. Right, and that slides down behind there like so. Tighten that up. Just do the one on the other side. Yep, there you go. Right, and I'll just drop that in there. Oh, wrong way around. Silly me. Not paying attention. That way around. Sorry, I'll try and keep this on the camera. I noticed in one of my other build videos I keep lifting things up so I can see them better and forgetting that I'm filming. So I'm trying to make sure these are visible. What's happened there? I've got one of these up the wrong way. This one. Whoops. Just loosen this off. Doing well. Let's pop that in there. There you go. That's better. Okay, so we've got both holes at the top, and we've got the sprue pointing up, and these at the bottom. So that's that one done. So moving on to number 3. Just leaning across, we've got these parts. So C5, this is sprue number C. These are the chromed parts, and these will be the body pins. So I'm just going to cut these off of here. Just gonna clean those up very little bit. The sharp edges, that's all. That one's okay. That one just a tiny bit. That's all right. Okay, so that's those done, and I need the chassis. Sorry, I've got a box next to me with it all laid out, so I keep leaning across to get them. Again, we're going to go for a BB1, so it's the shorter of the two. That's that one. Drops through here, and we'll just screw into the body like so. That one. This one. One over here. Like so. And finally the fourth one. Next, the servo needs to go in. Right, that's all of those on. So the servo is held in by two BB2s, which are slightly longer fixing. There's one of those there, and one there, and a couple of washers on here. And let's see if I can get one up. This one. There's two size washers in the kit. I'm just making sure that I get the right one there. Right. The servo drops in at a slight angle through here, like so, and the screw in through the body. Right. That's yeah, it's a little bit tricky. It'll go. There. So there's one of those done up. Okay. And then I'm going to do the other one. The other one you can see is on a it's got a tolerance slider there, so you can slide the servo across if you need to. So let's just do that one up. Right, that's the servo in. I'll just chuck the wire inside. Right. Turn over the page. Okay, I'm skipping the electrics at the moment. I'm not going to, because this is going to be shelf queen, I'm not running it, setting it up to run just yet. So put that to one side and let's crack on with the gearbox. So gearbox casing. There's one side there. Where did I do with the other side? There it is. Okay. So this gearbox line is absolutely wonderful. It's been around probably 40 years, this design of gearbox. It's so versatile and absolutely bulletproof. It's been in, you know, it first appeared in the Grasshopper and then the Hornet, and then it's been used in various other Tamiya models, and like I say, it's so versatile, it's fantastic, it really is. So that's the gear bag. Get rid of that, I'll put that over there. And we need, let me make sure I get this right, we need this bag as well, components. So in here should be the main drive shafts, which is the BS9s that you can see there. these two. One of those. And one of those. And then we need the oil filler cap. So where was that one? Now, rather annoyingly, that oil filler there, so this cap, you undo the screw, you can rotate around to put oil or grease in the gearbox. I haven't sprayed in the metallic paint, so I'm going to have to pause for a minute while I go and give that a quick dusting over of paint. I'll cut it off the sprue. I'll just go and give that a little paint, and then we'll carry on assembling the gearbox while that dries. Right, moving on. So we drop this inside here, like so. This one in here as well. And this one has, you see a little bush there, which is here. A little metal bush drops on that one. Okay, so assembling, let's get the gearbox right. Assembling the deep side first. Need to put some bearings in. Now, as I said, I've got ball racers. So the kit comes with these little nylon bearings. They're perfectly good, perfectly adequate. But if you want to make it go a little bit quicker, a little bit smoother, I mean, to be fair, you probably wouldn't notice a difference. But if you, as I say, if you want to do it, I'm going to say properly, invest in these roller bearings. They're not dear. Place I bought these from, it was about £6, £7 a set. So they're not expensive. What they are, just push that one in there. Okay, and then that drops into the gearbox. These ones that I got, you can get different types. These ones are sealed, so you can see they've got like a cover on the side, which means stops the water and grit from getting in them. Right, and then moving on, need another gear bag. Slide this one out. And again, this one has a large bearing on one side, like so. Make sure that's in. And then the smaller bearing, there's a very small bearing that you get on here. And in the kit, the bearings that come with it, the small one is normally like a brass bearing. I can't see it over here, I don't know where it is. There's a little brass bearing, but I've opted, as I say, to go for the roller bearing. Then there's a lay shaft, which will be this one. That drops in here like so. And then we drop, as it says on the instructions, this drops into here and locates. Actually, I didn't put the bearings in. A bearing in there, a bearing over this side. That's it. Okay. Then we drop this in. Sorry, drop the lay shaft in first. Get yourself all in the muddle. That one goes in first, and this one goes in. Right, then we need to assemble the, I say assemble, we need to put planet gears together. So the planet gears, we just need to make sure that we pick up the right, there's two in the kit, you'll find there's two sizes of shaft. We want the BD2, not the small one. This is for holding the wheels on. So we want this shaft, put that through the cog like so, and you just drop that into the differential gear, spur gear, which is this. And you just assemble all three planet gears in there. That one goes in there, and then the third one, like that. And that is going to sit on here, and there's going to be a little shaft which I can't see. Let's find that shaft first. There's a little knuckle either. There it is. So you can see with this one, as opposed, let's bring that one back over. You can see this one's just a straight shaft here. This one has a step shoulder in it. So we're going to drop that in here first. Drop the planet gear assembly onto there, and then before we close up the gearbox completely, need to put some grease inside. Even though this is going to be a, like I say, a shelf queen, I still want to grease up the gearbox in case I ever run it, because I'm bound to forget. Right, and in, as well as the grease in here, let me just show you. There's the phosphor bronze small bearing that comes with the kit. It was actually in that bag. I'm not going to use that, as I say. I put a roll bearing in. So editing out the bit that where I slipped with the knife. Let's open the glue again. Glue and the grease. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little bit of grease around on a few of the cogs. I mean, once this has turned around a couple of times, this gets thrown everywhere, so you don't have to put too much on, just a little bit of sparingly around inside. And we'll put a tiny bit on here as well. That's it. I'll put a little bit down inside that bearing. Perfect. Okay, and then the gearbox just drops together like so. There's a little sitting flush, that's because that's it. There you go, like that. Okay, so once that's in, now I need to do up some of the screws. So again, we're using a BB2, and the screws that we fix are here, here, and here. So I'll just do up those 3 screws quickly. That's the first one. Second one. And the third. Right, that feels pretty good. Although I'm fearing I shouldn't have put this one in. Yeah, that one goes in a minute. I've got the wrong one, sorry. Let's just take that one back out, because this is where the where the roll bar goes on, not anti-roll bar, the roll bar or wheelie bar. So this one doesn't go in there. It actually goes in here, like so. Okay. Right, next is the motor assembly. So let me just turn these. Yep, gearbox feels really smooth. It's really nice. Pleased with that. Feels good. Right, motor. So RS540 standard Tamiya motor is what we'll be using. I'll get this, pull the packaging off of it. Now, we'll get the pinion gear out. This in amongst the screw bag, you'll find a grub screw, which is this tiny little thing here. Now you need to put that into the grub screw here. So let me just find what I've done with the Allen key that I had a second ago. Okay, and we mount that into, put that into the pinion gear like this. Now what we want to do is, when we put this onto the motor, I mean, it says position the paper in between, but you know, you don't have to do that. You just leave a small gap. Just make sure it's not pushed right up against it, otherwise you get a lot of friction in there. So just create a small gap. But what we're trying to do is line up on the motor. You can see on the shaft there's a flat. We're trying to make sure that the gear, or the fixing, the screw fixing, the grub screw we just put in, screws down onto that flat. If you get it anywhere else around, once you put power, high torque through the motor, it will just spin. So you do need to make sure that that is lined up. Next, we need to assemble this little piece. So this was one that I had painted, and then it has a couple of these inserts in there which are D1s. So let's just have a quick look at the on the back here, and you'll see that where is it? One more. So there's D parts, so it's on this sprue, and it's these two little pieces here. So let me just find the remainder of that sprue. Here we go. So you can see these two parts either side. There's one there. These don't need painted because you'll never see them when it's done up. Right, so you need to put in, you can see here, you need to put in these nuts in the holes first. I forgot about those. So that one goes in, and that one goes in. Let me just get them level. Okay, that one's down, I think. No, it's still not quite there. That's better. Let's just do this one. Yeah. Right, and then these just push in on top. That's that one in. And that's that one in. So that's done. Then these screw onto the front of the motor using BA1s. So BA1 is going to be that size and that one. So let's just take our motor. Take our motor. And let's place this on the correct way round, which is that way, and we're just going to wind through into the screw holes. Now be careful, that's not a screw hole, it's these two. Right, and hang on, it's not those ones, it's like this, so it's rotated around. So you're not going through where we just put the nuts in, you're going on the adjacent holes. Magnetic screwdrivers, they're a great thing some of the time, not all of the time. Let's just run that home. Okay, and the same on the other side. Might have to get a different screwdriver for this. Nope, it's going in. Nope, it's not picked up. Let me just undo that just a tiny bit. Something's not right. There it goes. Just haven't got it lined up properly. Okay, I'll just tighten those down with the larger screwdriver. Is that one done? That's not reaching in. Okay. Just do that in here. That's it. So they're nice and tight. Right, and then final step is we need to tie back the motor. Comes with a handy fixing. So might as well do that while we're here. Okay, and you can put your decal on if you wish to. I probably won't for this. Be careful when you do it at the strap not to cover the venting holes. It's obviously quite important that you get the motor to breathe. And let's just push these wires back, being careful not to put them directly onto the bearing at the end. Okay. There we go. Okay, so now we need to assemble this to the gearbox. So we are going to use two BA4s, which are the longer ones. So BA4s, you can see here. Right, so let's drop those in, and we need the motor cover plate, which is this one here. One of the things I'm very particular about is it does say Tamiya on there, and I want that up the right way. So let's make sure gearbox sits like that, that's up the right way. Yeah, and that drops through from this side like that, and then the motor just drops in from this side. Let's make sure we get this up the right way. So that way. That goes into there and into there. Do that up. Do that up, and while I'm here, I'm just going to finish off that oiling cover. So now when I turn this, the motor should turn. Yeah, it does. Yeah, so just put a little bit of power through there. Right, so not that I would recommend this, but just put some power through. Gearbox is running lovely. So right, so that's that done. Next we've got to put on the suspension mounts and the roll bar. Looks like we need to take those ball joints, one there and one there, and they need to go on the outside of these before we mount them, so they sit in here. And again, this is a job for the box spanner that comes with the kit. Let's take this box spanner and just make sure that it's lined up, and these will just run nicely in like that. Okay, and this one. Like so. And then we're going to find the so there should be two BB3 screws. I'm looking at them. Yes, I am. They're there. You can see my screws have got all muddled. That was a great idea, putting them all in together, just with a bit of tape between them. That didn't take long to muddle them all up. So these just fit. Make sure I get them on the right side. That one on there. Screws home with that. Go, and this one on this side. And that screws home. Right, that's those done. That's nice. Okay, right, I'm just going to check something, because it says use a D10, which is a wheelie bar, and I've not seen that. So I'm assuming that's on a sprue because it's got a D number. Let's have a quick look. D, it'd be on this. Right, had a bit of a moment there. So D parts are across two sprues, and it's on the second sprue. So there it is, D10. Yeah, look, there you go. There's the wheelie wheel. Let's just slide that off of there. I'm going to just clean that off just a tiny bit. There you go. That's nice and smooth. Obviously, you can do that with a file if you wish. So let's go back to where we were. Move that out of the way. Right. So wheelie bar. We have this. We have a BD5, which is a little copper, brass spacer that goes through. And then we're going to use a BA3, which is one of these. Slide that through like so. I'm just going to go the other, well, it doesn't matter which side you go from. And then put this onto here, which is locking nut on here, and then do that up nice and tight. Right, and then this is going to mount onto the back with a BB2, which is one of those, and a BB1. So when this sits on here, we have going from one side is the BB2, which is this one, the longer one. Do that up. And then from the other side, the BB1. Like so. Okay, brilliant. That's those done. I'll just move my Allen key before I lose that again. Right, turning over the page. So we're now going to mount the gearbox into the chassis. So for that I need these two stanchions that hold it in, and there's basically a shaft that runs all the way through. So let's grab those. And two springs. Now, these springs are actually fantastic. What you find with because this is an electric motor, it means that you get max torque at 0 RPM. So when you hit the throttle, you dump all of the torque all in one go. And with these, you tend to light up the back wheels. So this little device here is like almost like it allows the gearbox to tramp a little bit, but in a controlled manner with a spring. So it stops your wheels from spinning so much, and allows you a little bit of a kick to get the car going. Yeah, so put that spring on there like that, and this one goes on here like so. And then we need a BB1, which is one of the short screws, and a couple of washers. So let me just grab a couple of washers. There's one. There's the other one. Okay. Right, and these screw in through the side like so. Right, let's do that one up. Okay, and then this one as well. Sorry about the noise in the background, my daughter's having a party tonight, so there's her guests just arriving. Right, let's put this onto here, getting the around the right way, this onto here like so. Okay, and then the same, I've done that around the wrong way. Oh dear, Matt. Let me turn that round. That's it, like so. Let's try again. So that's done up. That drops into this side, sorry, like so. And this one does the same on this side. Come on. Like so, and then the whole thing drops into the car. Actually, I'll do one side first. Let's get that one in. That. As I say, it does tell you to put a screw in to hold it in place, but you don't necessarily need to do that. Let's get that one in. There you go, like that. And then let's do these two screws up. So these are BB2s, and that one BB2. Okay, these just go in the back here. That's it. Do that up. That's it. True, that's better. Wind that one in. That's it. Let's do this one. Right, and then when this is done, we need to do the rear suspension. So I have already cut this rubber tube that comes with the kit. You take this rubber tube, cut it to 18mm, that forms your damper. So we put the shaft in from underneath like so. Okay, and then onto this goes the shock mount. Okay, put a little bit of grease on there, not too much. Okay, just one off my fingers. Then a spring. Okay, and then we're going to wind on a nut. Like that. Oh, sorry. Put the rubber bump stop on. Okay, like that. I'll get it on there. There you go. Then the nut. Cool, that's a bit fiddly. I'll just move that around so I can get the fingers on it a bit better. Oh, I can't get that on there. Have I got the right one? Yes, I have. Yep. Right. Let's just do this. Right, I want to push that further down on there. I'll let the spring slide off. Right. Let's put that on there, and then we finish it off with the right. Let's try and get this onto here. So there should be, yeah, there's a screw head at the end here. It's not a particularly big one. Let's find a smaller screwdriver to go on there. Right. With me, we'll just get a screwdriver that will fit. There is one. That should go on there, right. I'll just wind that in. So it's now picking up on the plastic piece at the end there. And I'm actually going to finish that off with the box spanner. Just wind that home. That winds up against the nut at the end. So we'll just wind that back down like so. That's that one on. Let's do the same on the other side. So we drop this through, and then the damper housing. Fortunately, these don't have proper dampers on, which is a shame. You know, it wouldn't take a lot. They're not that expensive to put in the kit, and I think it would really make a difference. But I suppose it's a fun car. It's not something. It's not like a professional race car or something. Just a bit of fun. So they just put the springs on and put these rubber bungs in and call them dampers. But obviously there are aftermarket, well, the Tamiya hop-up parts and aftermarket parts that you can put on to replace these these bushes and put proper oil shocks on. God, it's tough to get on there. There you go. Right, let's just wind that nut down. See if I can get this on here any easier than the other side. Yeah, much easier. Wind that down. Drop the spring on. Okay, and then we're going to put this on here. Right, with my other hand. Like that. And that. Okay. Let's get this started with a screwdriver, if I can get the screwdriver in there. Oh, come on, Matt. Right, there we go. Okay, and now I'm just going to wind that home with the box spanner. Perfect. So that's those on, and these just clip onto the two sockets that we put on either side earlier. Now be careful with these because they're, you know, they're quite fragile, so I'm going to grab a pair of pliers. I'm going to tease them on with those rather than just pushing, so I get it all aligned so they go on in one go rather than off to one side. There you go, that's one on. Okay, let's do this side. What's the other one on? Right, yeah, not an awful lot of travel on the rear suspension, but still, that'll do nicely. Right. Okay, so now moving on to next step, which is, looks like we're putting in the battery rib arm onto this housing. Okay, so you can see that that's going to locate and rotate around. So let me just make sure I get this right. So it's going on the top, screwed from underneath like so. That's fine. And the battery housing there. Hang on a minute. Let's make sure I get this right. So there should be a ball joint, which I can't see. There it is. It's not a ball joint actually, it's a, so we're putting a, you can see it's got a hole in it for putting a body pin in. So that's going to go through here like so. So that winds in there like that. And then at this end we've got this screw, you can see there, BB4, which is going to come down, come up from underneath, so it's going to sit in there. And push that in there like that. Oh, come on. In there like that. Okay. And that's going to come up and screw into this battery stay. Like so. In, there you go, and then you can see to put the battery in you just hook that over, or you, so that's that one done. I'm just going to loosen that off just a tiny bit, yeah, that's a bit more so it's free. Okay, and we need a little bit of sponge to stop the battery moving around. I did see that, that's in this packet here. Back off of that. And get to it. Yeah, that. And that sits in here like so. So that's just in there to stop the battery rattling around. Right, and then we need to make the tie rods, the steering arms. There's one, there's two, and these are the ends. So we need 4 ends. Bizarrely in Tamiya kits, they always mould these in sets of 3, which, considering you need 4 for a set, for a 4 for a kit, you'd think you'd mould them in 4 and just supply one part, but they never have. So, right, that's that one. Right, I'm going to hold this shaft with in the pliers like that, the steering arm in the pliers, and then just wind this on. So when I get about halfway, I'm going to stop. Do the same at this end. I need to go and grab my ruler. Right, so this should be 48 centimetres. So I'm at 50 at the moment. So let's just wind this one on a couple of turns, and I'll wind this one on a couple of turns. Let's have a look now. I'm going to wind one out. That's it. That's 48, so that's good. Let's do the other one. Again, winding this on. And this one's the same thing, but we're going to make it 30. So I'll just wind that on halfway. Do make sure you get the same amount of threads on either end, roughly, so you haven't got one end just touching and the other end fully done up. So you need you know, try and get equal thread showing on each end of these shafts. There you go, that's it. Let's have a measure. Still need to go on a bit more, so I'll just wind those both. Let's measure. Still a bit more. Do a bit and a couple of turns at this end. Perfect. So that's those two done. Right, on to mounting the front. So we've got the left hand one. So obviously the shorter shaft will go, depending on which way you're around, you've ended up mounting your servo. Just make sure that the shorter arm obviously goes to the side that the servo head is. You know, if you happen to have mounted it around the other way, it's not the end of the world. You just change the arms over. And again, you see it, I'm putting this on with pliers, so you're forcing the load directly down through the ball joint. Don't try and push them on from the side, because you'll put too much force, you'll end up breaking the plastic. Okay, so that's those on. We're then going to mount this, which is our battery stay. That sits in here like that, and that's mounted with, let me just check, BB2s. 1, 2, 3. So let's get these in. That's it. That's that one. That's that one. Okay, and these two. There's one there. At the back of it, make sure I just pick up the right screws. 2 of those that go in there, like so. and 2 in here on this side. That's it. And again, we'll just wind those in. Just get them all started to start with so they don't fall out. Right, let's get these done up. Sorry, it's not good camera angle. Let's go from the side. That's that. And then this side, same. That and this one. Right, and then one more part to put on, which is this D4, which is the part that I did spray. So I'll just drop that in like so. It fits on quite nicely once you get those lined up. So let's drop these in. 2 and 3. And let's just wind those home. Right, next is to build the front suspension arms up. I'll just do these 3 screws up quickly. Let's do this one. Building the front suspension arms, so let's get the sprue. I can move that out of the way for a minute so we can see what we're doing. Right, let's get this cut through. So I didn't paint these parts for good reason. These are slightly different material. They're more rubberized. So these are they're a little bit more flexible than the rest of the body, which is ABS. So I'm not sure how well the paint will take to these. I've not actually tried it. So these are actually, I might try the paint on there because it seems a shame not to colour those. No, I'll leave them black. So, right, so we need 2 steering arms there, okay, and some suspension supports, like so. Let's make sure we get these around the right way. So that's that side like that, that's that side like that. Okay, and now we're going to use a BB2 to put this through. That's not BB2, that's BB2. I got this up the wrong way, sorry, that way. We're just going to wind that screw in there. Now once you've got this started, there's a notch in that silver piece. Make sure that's lined up. We'll just wind that down, making sure that stays where it is. Okay, that's that one. Let's do this side. BB2. Okay. Sorry. Add a staple caught to the screwdriver and take that off. get these arms assembled now. So again, we're going to push this up through the hole as it says. Cool. It's a little bit tight. Right, let's get this. Put it onto the Allen key. Let's do it that way. Right, so as we look at the, let's get them around the right way again. That one there, that one there. We're going to wind this up through from underneath. Cool. That's not easy to get started, but once it's there, it's okay. Right. We're going to wind that all the way in. Like that. Send that home, and then take one of these ball joints, put that on top of it, like so. And again with the box spanner, just tighten that down. Like that. And we'll just tighten it from this side. Like that. Perfect. Okay, and let's do the other side, making sure that we get it round the right way. There it is. I can't find the screw that I needed. Right. Okay, again winding that in. Right the way through like that. Okay, and then we put the ball joint on there. Like so. I'll just tighten this one up with the box spanner as well. Right, so then these two shafts, now these are wheel grease. Try and find what I did with the grease. Put the grease down somewhere. There it is. So I'm going to put this, put a little bit of grease on here, and then making sure that I get the right side on the right. So this is the ball joint, that's up the right way, that goes in there like that. If you get these up the wrong way, you'll find you've only got steering in one direction. So it's worth just spending a couple of minutes making sure they're up the right way. I will check these in a minute. If you've watched any of my videos, you know I'm prone to getting things around the wrong way. That looks right. Okay, and let's do the same on this side. I'll put a bit of grease on there. Slide that through. Come on, that's it. And wind that down. Okay. So that's nice and loose, that's nice and loose. And then finally the suspension components that we did before. Where did I put those? Those bits, let's just slide those off the sprue. Right, and I'll just cut the edges off, just so they're nice and smooth. That's it. Right, so these are mounting onto a bush, like so, and then they're going to mount on a BA3. These do need a little bit of grease in them. So that mounts in there, BA3, and that's going to push in from the front through the bush, and then it's going to be wound off with a nut on the back of it. So just get that lined up there like that. And we're going to put a nut on the back. These are serrated nuts, so they're captive. Once they do up, they lock themselves in place. So if we just wind that in like that. And you can wind that straight down onto the spacer, get them nice and tight. Let's do the same on this side. Right, so spacer in. Like that. A little bit of grease in there. Like that. Okay, put that through here. Like that. Okay. And we're going to put that on the back. Come on. And again, wind that in. That's it. Right, so that's that one done. So I'll just move this over, move that out of the way, move that over, move up there. Right, what's next? Right, fitting the suspension in. So these go round, making sure these are round the right way. So this one's going to go in that side, like that. Hoping you can see this. And that one's going to go in that way. And we're just making sure that these parts are at the front of the car. So yeah, they look pretty good. Right, so I'm going to mount that now with a bit of grease on there. A little bit of grease around there. Okay, that's that one in. Just take this one back out to put a bit of grease on. Just a lessons learned from putting these before. At this point, check where your steering arms are. Check they're not crossed. Check they're not tucked under anything, because it's at this point you screw it all together and then find that your steering arms are trapped. You have to take it all apart again. I've done that many a time. Right, let me just clean that off. Again, this bit's not painted for the same reasons. I'm not totally convinced the paint will stay adhered to it, so right, let's do this up. So two at the front, one at the back. Right, at this point in the instructions, it's telling me to put the bumper on. I'm not actually fitting the bumper to this kit. I prefer them without, so I won't be screwing the bumper onto the front of it. Okay. Okay, that's all nice and tight. Right, steering arms on next, I believe. So let's just drop those in. And again, I'm going to do these, put these on with a pair of pliers, so you get the load directly down through the ball joint. Don't try and push them on at an angle, because you'll bend and break them. Push that one on like that. Okay, front suspension. So front suspension components. So these have a different offset to them, so be aware there is front and rear on the actual shock towers themselves. They are different. Right, that's that one out. Snip this one through. That one. That one. smooth enough. That one's smooth enough as well. Right, so grabbing the parts from the suspension bag, the last few bits. I'm going to put those to one side. I don't know why we've got one of those. Ah, I know why they're in there. If you want to mount in the future, if you want to go to oil-filled shocks, you will screw these up through the top. But we don't need those today, so we'll put those to one side. Right, cutting the rubber again. Just going back a page just to cut this rubber. I didn't do before. Got my knife, so we're cutting this at 18mm. So there's one. And there's two. Okay. Right, so mounting these through the top, through the shock housing, pushing the rubber on. Never easy. Oh, no trouble with this. Cool. There you go, there's the thread. Right, putting the nut on the end. Like that. Okay, let's get this. Okay, nut on the end. Push the rubber down onto it. Okay, then the spring. And then the whole assembly drops in and does up. So just grab a screwdriver. Push down on there. We'll just wind that into that far end like so. Okay, easier said than done. Right, let's just wind that in like that. Want to put a tiny bit of grease on that shaft, so I'll just slide that through, just put a bit of grease on there and then it'll work its way up and down. That's that one done. Let's do the other side. So in through the top, shock housing on, like this. Then the rubber, which is a nightmare to fit. Pushing that with my fingers. Oh. A bit more, just a little bit more. Cool. Don't know why that won't go on. That's that one's really tight. Okay, let's do it this way so we can wind it through. There it is. Okay. Nut on the end. Okay, like that. Right, and then we put the spring on like so. Let's just get that wound in there like that. And line all this up. Okay, wind that in. We just take that right home. Nearly there. Right, that looks like the chassis complete. Obviously, there's instructions about tracking your front wheels. You want slight towing. Doesn't look too bad the way we've got them at the moment. So now we go on to mounting the tyres onto the rims. Now, as you can see from the diagram, we need to get direction of rotation correct. So let's make sure we get this right. So front and rear wheel on the left hand side. So rotation direction is like this. So the hub is going to go in from this side. This is a front hub. I'm going to drop this in, and unfortunately there's no easy way to do this. It is just brute force to pull them on. Some kits I've had in the past, you may find that you want to glue the tyres on. Obviously the problem if you are running the car, if you need to change the tyres, if you glue them on, they're not the easiest of things to come out. So that's that way. Just grab a rear hub. So front hubs you put bearings in, rear ones mount like so. It's just making sure that my tread is the same direction. I'm going to put a rear one on this side. Sorry, I'm not doing it on the camera. And let's put that. Okay, so that's both of them on that side. So now we're doing this side. Let's do the front one. In from there. Like that. Just line that one up. So again, you can see two fronts and they're both pointing this way. Finally, let's do this one. Again, just making sure I've got that round the right way. This is a rear hub. Right, let's finish putting this one in. Okay. Get that seated correctly. Perfect. Right, so that's those two fronts, two rears, and they're all pointing in the same direction. So front wheels, we now put bearings, push bearings either side. On the front wheels, there's one, there's two, there's three, and there's four. So that's the bearings on the front wheels. We can then drop the front wheels straight on. I'm going to put a little bit of grease just on the axle on both sides. Not that we should need it because they're ball raced. Let's drop that one on and that one. And then using our box spanner, we use the wheel nuts, just get those locked on, and then that's the front wheels mounted. You see what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm just going to drop that in and do that up. Okay, and then this side, so put that into the box spanner. Just do that one up. Okay, not quite, let's try again. Lovely. Okay, and there you see they're both rotating forward. Now let's do the rear ones, make sure I get those both rotating forward as well, like so. So the rear ones, slightly different. You take these two pieces. If you remember, we mentioned about that small shaft that's here. That actually pushes through, there's a hole in the axle. So push that halfway through, like so, if you can see that. Then that little bar drops into the slot on these end pieces like that, and then you just mount the wheel like so and put wheel nut on there. Okay, let's just do that one up. Right, before I drop the other wheel on, if you remember, I hadn't painted this oil cap, so that's all painted now, so it's the same colour as the gearbox. I just want to drop that in while I can still get to the screw before I put the wheel on. Magnetic screwdrivers, honestly. Right, let's do that up. Right, and then the same thing, we push the bar through the axle like that. Just rotate this round so that it's not going to fall. Push it through the axle like that. This then drops on top, so it's locked, and this sits on top of there, and then it's just a case of getting the wheel nut into your box spanner and pushing it and doing it up. Let me get the box spanner, put this on here like so. Okay, it's because I'm trying to do it at a funny angle. Let me get it started down here and then that's it. So once it's on, just wind that home. Right, and one final check. So with the wheel mounted, you should be able to move one side because of the differential, and you can hear the motor twisting. We'll just check the other side. Yeah, I can hear the motor going, that's fine. Perfect. Right, so one more final step, which is to mount the body. I'm not going to do it here because I haven't got enough clearance. But the body just slots on. Got two holes here, they drop onto there and body pins through. So I'm going to assemble that, then I'll take some pictures and we'll do the conclusion. Obviously in this I haven't put any electrics in. I don't plan on running this one at the moment, so I haven't put the speed controller in, but obviously if you follow the instructions, the speed controller just sticks onto one of these areas with some double-sided tape, and then you plug your radio gear in and everything's good.
Right, there you go. That's the Lunchbox complete. Really pleased with the way it came out. I mean, they are lovely little kits. If you're looking for something fun to run around, I'm not going to run this one. I'm just going to keep it as a shelf trophy. But if you do want a fun car to run around, these are fantastic. I mean, it's virtually impossible to keep the front wheels on the ground. They just wheelie on the wheelie bar all day long. They're great fun. I may run this at some point, I don't know. But this will now go up on the shelf behind me with the other two Lunchboxes. So I've got the standard Lunchbox there, and I've also done a Scooby-Doo version there, and then this is the Black Lunchbox. So yeah, I hope it was of some interest. I appreciate a lot of people have built these kits before and it's nothing new. And as I always say, there's 100 other videos on YouTube that will tell you better ways to do things than I do them. But I'm just making these for a bit of fun, and I hope somebody found some enjoyment from it. So anyway, thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.